Lovie Smith will be the new coach of the Houston Texans. Lovie Smith is black. The Houston Texans said that Brian Flores was a finalist for the job. They wanted to hire the former quarterback with no experience, Josh McGowan. They couldn't hire him because he's white. McCown. Sorry, Coca. They couldn't hire him because he had no experience and he was white. And the NFL got involved and said, hey, you're not doing that. Try again. Brian Flores? No, we're not doing that. Try again. How about the guy right on your staff? How about getting a double word score in Scrabble? One of the things that came out in Brian Flores' lawsuit is when you're a black coach, you don't get a second chance. Well, how about giving another chance to Lovie Smith? Lovie Smith may be one of the worst coaches of all time. I think his record is like 25-60 or something. Remember he coached the Chicago Bears? Does anyone remember how bad he was as a head coach? It doesn't mean he's not a good coordinator. It doesn't mean he's not going to be a head coach again. Joe Torre was a terrible manager until he got to the Yankees, and now he's in the Hall of Fame. I'm all about second chances, third chances. I'm not about hiring someone where you are doing it for a very specific purpose. It is critical that the NFL shows that they are hiring minority coaches. So the Dolphins hire a guy who's being described as identifying as multiracial, which I don't know what the hell that means, Coca. Your race is your race, right? He has one black parent, one white parent. Guess what? He's a Yelly, the new coach for the Dolphins. He's got very little experience, but the Dolphins haven't hired a coach with experience since Dave Wannstedt, like in 2000. So it's a great hire. Good luck with the Dolphins. But that was an important hire for football. But now they got to go again. Texans. Lovie Smith doesn't have a chance. He wasn't even in consideration. A finalist. He was never even a candidate. All of a sudden, Lovie Smith is not just a candidate, but he's the favorite to be the head coach. A guy who went 25-63 in 7 seasons. A guy who failed with Tampa. I guess he was okay in Chicago. Not too good at Illinois, but doesn't matter. The point is, do you all think that it is right and proper? And I would like to have you have a conversation with your friends and family about this. Because I've had. We're trying to fix diversity. Such a terrible way to say it. That's what everyone says. Let's fix our diversity problems. We've got to increase diversity. No, we just want more representation. That goes back hundreds of years, right? Taxation without representation. What people want is representation. Representation means when you look in a room, you feel as though you're not alone. You feel as though there are people who look like you, or people who have had your experiences, people who understand you as you would understand them, because no one wants to be alone. The reason why pioneers in race and discrimination, the reason why they get history on their side and why they become famous and get so much attention, guess why? Because at one point they started off completely alone. And they led, they gathered people, they gathered followers. The NFL, as well as Major League Baseball and all the other sports, when they come out and say, we need to do better, what they're saying is not that they need to improve diversity. They need to do better with representation. So what the NFL did is they called up Houston and they said, hey, listen, we need to do a window dressing hire here. We can't have you hire a first-time, no experience head coach who's white. You got to do a retread and make sure the retread is black. If you're Lovie Smith, you want to know how to forward this cause? Any thoughts? I'll tell you how to forward it. Don't take the job. When you're offered the job, and this is terrible to say to someone to not get a raise and not help your financial situation and provide for your family. But how about if you don't take the job and you say instead, I'm not a candidate for this job. You only thought of me after Brian Flores filed his lawsuit. Now the owners of Houston will come out and say, hey, listen, we had a black coach. We fired. Remember, they're the ones who fired the 65-year-old coach, first-time head coach David Culley. He didn't have Deshaun Watson. He had two hands tied behind his back. They never put batteries in his headset during the course of the season, so he couldn't communicate with any of the coordinators, so they couldn't win any games, yet they won the same number of games as they did last year under the previous coach who they fired, and then they fired Culley. I know you remember that. But do you think that Roger Goodell thinks that you're fooled by the hiring of Lovie Smith? Are you? Are we that manipulated and stupid that we actually will let Roger Goodell and the Houston Texans get away with this and then raise our arms and say, look, things are better. We've got someone who identifies as multiracial and a black retread. They filled 2 of the final 3 spots. We're back. We're good. Hey, Brian, we're going to file a response to your lawsuit and say, what you talking about, Willis? Everything's great here. It's a joke. Do not let him get away with this. Here's the problem. The problem starts with a 3 and it ends with a 2. There's only 32 head coaching jobs in the NFL. There's only 30 managerial positions open in baseball. Anybody you offer a position to is going to take it. Now, I offered the job to Jim Harbaugh and he didn't take it. Horse hockey. He was never going to Minnesota. Lovie Smith is going to get offered the job at the Texans. Lovie Smith is going to take the job with the Texans. And that will be marked as tremendous, uplifting, beautiful progress in the area of representation and diversification. And we will look back at this day in 1 year, in 3 years, and in 5 years, and we will say, God dang dog it. How did we let Roger Goodell fool us again? It's just business. This is nothing personal.